Imagine opening your eyes on Earth and instantly knowing you do not belong here. The air presses against your chest, warm, heavy, forcing your lungs to work harder with every breath. The ground beneath your feet radiates heat, not just from the sun above, but from the planet itself, as if the Earth is alive, hostile, and there are no cities on the horizon, no distant hum of civilization, only silence, broken by wind sweeping across endless land and the faint movement of something far away. This is not the Earth humans evolved to survive. This is Earth at its most dangerous, a planet shaped by extremes where intelligence offers no advantage and cooperation offers no protection. This is Earth's deadliest era, a time when modern would not endure and would not survive. Earth is more than 4.5 billion years old, and throughout its vast history, life has been tested again and again. Asteroids have struck with unimaginable force. Ice ages have frozen oceans and buried continents beneath kilometers of ice. Supervolcanoes have erupted, choking the air with ash and sulfur. Entire ecosystems have collapsed, recovered, and collapsed again. Yet among all these challenges, there was one period when danger was not isolated to a single event. One era when every system on the planet turned against complex life at the same time. Scientists call it the Permian Period, and it represents the most lethal environment Earth has ever produced. The Permian began nearly 300 million years ago, long before dinosaurs ever existed. At this time, the world looked unfamiliar even to those who study Earth's past. All major land masses were fused together into a single supercontinent known as Pangaea. From space, it might have appeared stable, even peaceful. On the surface, it was unforgiving. With almost all land locked together, the planet lost the stabilizing influence of wide oceans cutting through continents. Without that balance, extreme climates took control. The interior of Pangaea became isolated from moisture, transforming into vast deserts stretching thousands of kilometers. Rainfall was rare, unpredictable. Then floods would come without warning. Rivers formed seasonally, then vanished without warning. Lakes evaporated. For humans, the search for fresh water alone would be a constant struggle against death. Temperatures during the Permian were far higher than what modern humans can tolerate. Global averages exceeded today's levels, and inland regions experienced heat waves that lasted not days, but months. Shade was scarce. Forests were sparse, unstable, and unreliable. The sun beat down relentlessly, turning the land into a furnace. Dehydration would set in quickly. Heat exhaustion would follow, then heat stroke. Without shelter, without technology, simply remaining exposed to the environment would be fatal. There was no escape from the heat, no cool nights to recover, no reaching. The planet offered no mercy. Yet the heat was only one layer of danger. The air itself was hostile. Oxygen levels fluctuated dramatically during the Permian, and toward the end of the era, they dropped low enough to severely impair human performance. Breathing would feel labored, as if the lungs could never quite fill. Physical exertion would become exhausting within minutes. Muscles would tire rapidly. Reflexes would slow. Running from danger would not be an option. Even walking long distances would leave humans gasping for air, dizzy and weak. Survival would
Volcanic
become a
activity
battle
added
against
another
the limits
invisible
of the
threat.
human body.
Across the planet, eruptions released sulfur dioxide and other toxic gases into the atmosphere. These gases damaged the lungs, irritated the eyes, and weakened the immune system over time. Acid rain fell in some regions, poisoning water sources and killing plant life. Long-term exposure would lead to respiratory failure. In this world, even breathing was not guaranteed to be safe. While humans struggled simply to exist, predators thrived. This was not the age of dinosaurs, but an earlier age, dominated by apex hunters, perfectly adapted to extreme conditions. One of the most fearsome was Dimetrodon. Often mistaken for a dinosaur, Dimetrodon lived tens of millions of years earlier and stood at the top of the food chain. Its massive skull housed powerful jaws, lined with serrated teeth designed to crush bone and tear flesh. Its sail-backed body helped regulate temperature, allowing it to remain active when other animals slowed down. Dimetrodon did not rely on intelligence. It relied on instinct, speed, and power. An unarmed human would not survive an encounter. Not because humans lack intelligence, but because intelligence means nothing against a predator built purely to kill. As the Permian progressed, predators became even more specialized and even more lethal. Near the end of the era, gorgonopsids emerged as the dominant hunters. They resembled monstrous wolves with elongated skulls and enormous saber-like teeth. Their canines were designed to deliver fatal bites, puncturing vital organs with terrifying efficiency. They were fast, muscular, relentless. They hunted actively, pursuing prey across open landscapes rather than waiting in ambush. Humans, we would be prey. Slow, fragile, and completely outmatched. There were no safe places to hide. Forests were unstable and sparse. Caves were often occupied or prone to collapse. Open plains offered no cover, only exposure. Every movement risked attention. Every sound risked death. Survival required constant vigilance, and vigilance alone was never enough. Eventually, exhaustion would set in. And in this world, exhaustion meant death. Finding food would be nearly impossible. Plant life struggled under extreme heat and erratic rainfall. Many plants were tough, fibrous, and poorly suited for human digestion. Hunting animals would be suicidal. Predators dominated the land, and prey species were fast, armored, or highly adapted. Agriculture, the foundation of human civilization, would be impossible. No domesticated plants, no stable seasons, no reliable climate patterns. Starvation would arrive quickly, silently, and inevitably. Turning to the oceans would not save humanity. Permian seas were among the most dangerous waters in Earth's history. Massive predatory fish dominated coastal zones. Early sharks patrolled deeper waters. Armored marine arthropods thrived in shallow seas. Ocean chemistry was unstable. Toxic algae blooms spread across vast regions, poisoning water and suffocating marine life. Oxygen-poor dead zones formed where nothing could survive. Fishing would be unreliable. Even drinking untreated water could lead to illness or death. The oceans offered no refuge, only another way to die. As time passed, the planet grew more unstable. Earthquakes shook regions already weakened by volcanism. The ground cracked and shifted. Landscapes changed rapidly. Familiar terrain vanished. Navigation became impossible. Humans rely on predictability. The Permian offered none. Getting lost meant death. As the Permian world continued to unravel, survival became less about strength and more about chance. Entire regions shifted from harsh to completely uninhabitable. Vegetation failed, seeds stopped sprouting, soil cracked and eroded. Storms arrived suddenly, flooding dry ground, then vanished, leaving scorched land behind. Stress never ended. Sleep vanished. Judgment failed. Fear replaced reason. Predators grew more aggressive, driven by hunger rather than instinct. Scavenging increased. Injuries became fatal. Disease spread rapidly. Even survival as a group collapsed as resources vanished. The sky darkened often, ash filtering sunlight, turning days dim and disorienting. The world smelled of sulfur, rot, and decay. Good feedback loops accelerated. Polar regions disappeared. Oceans stagnated. Dead zones expanded. The planet became quieter, empty. Then came the final catastrophe. Near the end of the Permian, massive volcanic eruptions known as the Siberian traps tore open the planet. For thousands of years, lava flooded the land. But the true danger was invisible. Carbon dioxide surged, oceans acidified, oxygen collapsed, methane erupted. Earth entered a runaway greenhouse state. What followed was the Great Dying, the most devastating mass extinction in Earth's history. Up to 96% of marine species vanished. Nearly 70% of land vertebrates disappeared. Ecosystems collapsed. The planet emptied of life. If humans had existed, our extinction would not have been gradual. It would have been inevitable. No shelter, no medicine, no technology. Nothing would have saved us. Some life survived, small, simple, resilient. Humans depend on balance. We need stability. The Permian offered none. The Earth moved on. It always does. Balance would return, millions of years later, but humanity would never have been part of that future. The Permian reminds us that Earth does not belong to us. We belong to Earth. There have been times when the planet itself became the greatest predator of all. The Permian was one of those times. It was Earth's deadliest era, a world humans could never survive. And if you made it this far, you've just traveled through one of the darkest chapters in Earth's history. A time when survival wasn't about intelligence, but endurance. If you want more deep dives into Earth's forgotten eras, extinct worlds, and ancient science, subscribe to Noverse Official. Here we explore the past, not just to understand where we came from, but to understand what the future might hold. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next journey through time.